Hello and welcome to another Fabula Ultima class feature. This is the Commander, a guide by Fabula Points, me. So, jumping straight in as we normally do, Commander's a two-pager. This is your, kind of, it says Prince, Queen, Shogun kind of class. This is a support class. I want to get this out of the way. This is a support class. If you want this to be able to, kind of augment what you're already doing, it's not going to be that great. It helps your party a lot, but, if you want to be powerful, this, maybe give this one a miss. Being honest, I'm trying to find ways to make it good. My what did I name it? The Beast Commander build I made uses the Commander to be able to use the Wayfarer's Faithful Companion to make you better. But yeah, keep in mind this is a poor class. So what do we get? Get your maximum HP increased by 5, which is fine, and you can equip martial melee and martial ranged weapons, so no armor. The skills, we have a lot of skills to take. There are 21 different skills we can have, so we can have 2 commanders that are completely different and don't have any skills left, and they're still one over, right? But the way these work is very unique. So the first one, Bishop's Edict, you can have up to 5 skill levels in this. So during a conflict, you use an action to spend 10 mind points to choose one option. Either all MP costs are doubled, or all sources of damage deal skill level times 3 extra damage. Chosen effect lasts until the start of your next turn. Now, I wish this was until the end of your next turn, so you could take advantage of what you've done, but it doesn't work like that. So, all MP costs are doubled. Obviously, that has a chance to really mess with the rest of your party. So please speak to your party if you're planning on doing this. But all sources deal extra damage. Could be good if you're about to all jump on a boss who might be debilitated for a turn possibly. But skill level times 3 means we can do up to 15 extra damage. So yeah, you need to kind of coordinate your attacks to be able to get the most out of Bishop's Edict. It's not my favorite, but it's there and it works. Charging cavalry, you can also spend 5 points in. So during a conflict, you can use an action, spend 10 MP again, to choose one ally that can hear you. That ally may immediately perform a free attack with a weapon they have equipped, or with a basic attack if they're an NPC. They gain a bonus equal to skill level to the accuracy check, but treat the high roll as 0 when calculating damage. So this is, as I said, it's a free attack. So if you have an ally that's used a turn to set up damage but then wasn't able to do damage, you can do this to be able to get them to attack. But the problem I have with this is you're sacrificing your action to let an ally perform an attack without the high roll damage, whereas you could do an attack yourself, which to me on its own is fine, but there are things we can do to kind of help this. So, this on its own isn't great. But Crushing Chariot, you can only have 1 skill level in this. So after you use Bishop's Edict, Charging Cavalry, or King's Castle, which we'll go to next, you may choose another player character that can hear you who has yet to take a turn during this round. That character may take the turn immediately after yours during this round. So this I like, because say for example you can do Bishop's Edict and you can make all sources of damage deal extra damage, and then your friend will have a turn before the enemy's turn, because obviously enemies turns are dispersed between yours. So whoever wins initiative goes first. Let's say it's the party, and then it's an enemy, and then party enemy until you run out. So this is a way to kind of power up at someone else. So yeah, I kind of like it, but also depending on where in the turn order you are, it might not do much. But the next one is King's Castle. You can only take 4 in this instead of the 5 in the others. But during a conflict, you can use an action to spend 10 mind points again to choose one option. No creature can recover hit points or mind points, which is very punishing, or all effects that restore mind points restore skill level times 5 additional mind points. Chosen effect lasts until the start of your next turn. So you can use this as kind of an MP battery, but also say if you're in a boss fight, bosses can use ultimate points to regain MP, and they will this will restore extra MP for them. So bear in mind that, you know, some enemies at least can restore MP, and you might want to plan accordingly. But this next one's Queen's Gambit, is, I feel, the more interesting one. So you can have up to 6 skill levels in this. So during a conflict, you can use an action to perform a free attack with a weapon you've equipped, treating your high roll as 0. But then after the attack is resolved, you can choose one option. So either an ally who can heal you recovers 5 plus skill level times 5 hit points. So that can be, skill level times 5 would be 30, so that could be 35 max hit points. Or you can immediately use a skill you acquired among Bishop's Edict, Charging Cavalry, or King's Castle for free, spending the appropriate MP. So you can Queen's Gambit, do a little hit, and then you can cause something else. So this at least means that you can get hits in, because obviously Bishop's Edict, you're using an action to make like sources damage deal extra damage, or Charging Cavalry using an action to let someone else use an attack, and King's Castle using an action so that, you know, either no one can recover hit points or they do minor points, right? But you're wasting a turn, whereas Queen's Gambit at least lets you get a hit off. So, like, in my mind, there's no point in not having Queen's Gambit. How high you want it to go depends on whether you want to use it to restore people's hit points or not. And it's only one ally each time. But as with other builds that I've gone through, or other classes, I should say, the skills aren't the only things to consider. They have heroic skills as well. So, first one is Ceaseless Battlefield. So the MP costs for your Bishop's Edict, Charging Cavalry, and King's Castle are halved, which is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. All the 10 MP goes down to 5, so you can use them more often. Like, if you're a commander that uses them an awful lot, then yeah, get Ceaseless Battlefield. It works. Double Arrow. So this one also works if you're a sharpshooter, so we've covered it there. When you perform the attack action with a ranged weapon that belongs to the bow category, if you have no other weapon equipped, you perform 2 separate attacks instead of 1. And they can target the same or different enemies. If you do, both attacks follow the rules for 2-weapon fighting. So they lose multi and can't gain it, and you treat the high roll as being 0. And this doesn't start with quick customization. So, like I said in the sharpshooter, I don't like this because you can have a bow that does the quick customization and that does the same thing. Or, I know, like, if you're stuck on really wanting a bow, like, obviously that one changed, but you could also have 2 pistols and just do this without, like, I don't know, I don't like heroic skills where you can find a weapon that does the same thing and it restricts you to a specific weapon type. Like, I've said it a bunch of times, I don't like it. So, like, obviously it has its place, but it's one that I don't really recommend. The next one is Hoplite. So we covered this with the Guardian, because you can have that for them as well. As long as you have a weapon equipped in your main hand and a shield equipped in your offhand, your attacks with that weapon deal 5 extra damage and you gain a +1 bonus to defense. So it's worth noting that this 5 extra damage will work on the Queen's Gambit, because Queen's Gambit treats a high roll as 0, it doesn't stop extra damage. So if you're the kind of person who wants to use the Queen Gambit's attack and deal more damage, this will do that for you. And you gain extra defense, which is always good. Cannot be command custom weapons with the defense boost customization or the dual shield bearer skill, you know, which is fine. That doesn't matter here. It mattered more as a Guardian. But yeah, this is solid. It's 5 extra damage as long as you've got a shield, and because you can't equip martial melee armor unless you go into something else. Actually, no, that's the point. You can't equip. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's one that I don't say you shouldn't take, but it's like, it's not like spectacular. The next one is the very next one, Iron Forest. So we cover this with a Weapon Master. So after you hit one of my enemies with a melee attack using a weapon that belongs to the spear category, so again, very specific. If you have no other weapon equipped, you can spend 20 mind points and to choose either the attack deals half the normal amount of damage to each of the targets, and you can choose. So you spend 20 mind points, the attack deals half the normal damage, and then you can pick action, attack a guard, objective, spell, or skill, and the creature must spend 20 mind points when they perform that action. So it's a way to punish people if you have a spear. But this is a lot of mind points to shut people down. Like, it has its place, like if you want to be like a shutdown kind of character. So like I can see you kind of like, I rip this a lot with the weapon master, because the weapon master has access to a base plus extra damage, which we kind of have here with hoplite if you're having a shield. But I feel it suits a commander more, but I still wouldn't pick Iron Forest. It's just that there's other options that are better, especially because this makes you lose damage and cost 20 MP. It's a big cost, very big cost. The next one is Tabula Rasa. After you use Bishop's Edict or King's Castle, if you are in crisis, you may have every enemy present on the scene lose 10 hit points, which I really like. Like, it's just blanket damage. Like, there's no roll, there's no resisting. They just lose 10 hit points, or 20, or 30. Like, if you like combine this with like a Dark Blade, for example, that you can use like your main Dark Blade attack to bring your health down into a crisis, and then the Dark Blade has extra things to make crisis better, right? You can then Queen's Gambit, which gives you a free attack, which you can use to deal damage anyway. That will then trigger Bishop's Edict or King's Castle, your choice, and then it also deals damage. Like, I like it. Like, I probably think out of all of these, Hoplite is the better one, because as long as you've got a shield, it deals extra damage, and extra damage is good. But yeah, you could easily, if you really want to be a commander, you can like obviously get levels in other things. Like I take levels in either Darkblade or Guardian to get extra armor, right? You could go for a few, so you could Tabula Rasa and Hoplite, which means that your free attack will deal 5 extra damage, and then as you do the Bishop's Edict or King's Castle, that will then deal extra damage again. So you can start to be able to cause damage, but you've got to have a few heroic skills to get this, and like other classes have skills that can help your damage, so it may not be worth it. But if you are someone who really wants to be a commander and love the idea of it, that could be a way to go forward. So anyway, that's enough for me. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.